32 system, so it's still kind of experimental. But I've been using it for interviews.
So let's see if the camera works.
See if I can find it first.
Shouldn't your camera be always on your desk, ready to go anytime you need it?
I tend to want to hide these things. I'm rather shy about my appearance.
So you're acting like a cat. You kind of take your stuff and hide it somewhere. Oh man!
It's good to start your webcast.
No, good morning, everybody. Everybody's jumping in. Good. We got the numbers are coming up here. Well, good morning. Happy New Year. The start of the first year, our first broadcast of the year. We've got David Glenn with us. It's going to show us some real cool stuff in terms of texturing in Blender. I've got some interesting stuff, Blender stuff to show. I'll share with everybody the current projects that I'm working on. That'll be kind of fun. Let's see if I can actually see. So this is weird. We got a bunch of people on, but they're not showing up in my chat box. So guys, come on the chat box. Share with us who you are. Just share with us where you're from and what the weather is like in your area. And I'm from San Diego, where the weather sucks everywhere else. Oh man,
it's either raining or it's a blaze.
That's exactly correct. All right, so Blender 3D LightWave broadcast going on now. Cool. All right, so I'm going to share your. You're still looking for your camera, but
yeah, I can't seem to find it.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I'm going to go ahead and share your screen.
Go ahead.
All right, we'll go ahead and just share. So we're only seeing your screen. Great. That way, everybody get the full view of your presentation. All right. So share with us what you're about to show us.
Well, for the past week or so, I've been studying what is referred to as procedural shaders, and been also I'm working on this character. I'll bring her up here. I'm doing this in cycles, so I pray it doesn't interrupt our conversation. But there it is. There's my character.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you're aware of the YouTubers out there or the VTubers out there, but there's this one I kind of discovered on Twitch, courtesy of one of the other VTubers out, one of the YouTube personalities out there. Her name is Pumpkin. I think it's Pumpkin Passion or Pumpkin Potion.
Okay.
And she encourages people to do fan art of her. Okay. And I went up to her. I says, well, I do 3D stuff. I don't necessarily draw that much. So, and she already has a very attractive cartoon. Her persona of sorts is that she's a 30s cartoon, plays like a flapper girl. I don't know if you're aware of what flapper girls are, but they were this kind of happy-go-lucky individuals that were discovering their new freedom in the 30s, because before that everything was so prude. And so she, and this was also the era of Betty Boop, and she didn't necessarily want to copy Betty Boop so much as she wanted to come up with something that was original. And when she became a VTuber, she had this 3D version of herself made, which she has a animation rig, which is like in the six figures, literally. And because she's made VTubing her business. She's for reasons I won't get into. She's pretty much stuck to her house in Maine, and for medical reasons. And so she does this VTubing stuff basically for a living. Before that, she worked in the gaming industry. So I said, well, I'm working on this one project, kind of a quick and dirty thing that I'm doing called My Robotic Nightmare. And I could put your face on I'm going to put your face on the first character that I make. And My Robotic Nightmare is kind of built out of a device that I made. As I alluded to earlier, one of my hobbies is working with these cheap and inexpensive Arduino modules. And one of the first module devices I made up was a touchscreen, which you could draw on. And I used to draw the faces onto the touchscreen and actually take physical photographs of them, as if they were characters. And one of my icons out there in the net is of that. Well, I decided to take that one step further and turn that into an idea for a character design, and I came up with this. And so this is the premise behind this character is she's holding the wand. The latest addition I've added was this wand that is over here. That she's holding. That is actually resembles the stylus that you get with these TFT touch displays that you can buy, and you plug those into the Arduino and you program it in C++ code, because that's what Arduino is based on. And I created this simple drawing program, and this face I got here, of course, I didn't do that in a device. I created that in Photoshop, and UV textured it onto the face. So I could go in here and make us any personality I want, just literally at a flick and a switch, which is part of the idea of customizing the character. I've also created props for them to play with, like hats and glasses and all sorts of things that you could put on the character. There's a few static, I guess you would call them Ghibli's of sorts that I've added to some. Both of them kind of resemble. And let's see if I can get in here. And I can bring them up here. One of them is this battery. And that I have hooked up here. I made some of this stuff I put together in Blender, but a lot of it I'm still relying on using LightWave. So the things like the wires that I got poking around here, those were all splines that I converted into the wires. I got a battery here, and she's plugged in. She's plugged in. That's basically her lifeline. And then to program it, I got a internet socket here, and that's designed, and that's to suggest a way that the personality gets plugged into this device. And the premise of the show is that when, as a game player, you become this mini robot, you're given your nightmare wand, which is what she's holding in her hand. And you are basically stuck out in this virtual world, this computer, AI generated world, and have to go out and defend. You have to go out and gather objects and stuff, and make do and be able to keep your battery charged. Otherwise, you die, and it's game over. And that's about I know I came in here probably to talk about procedural shaders, but
this is
there's a lot of interesting things. There's a lot of different things that I learned. Well, when I created this, like this image in the back, I just recently, I procedurally generated this a few days ago, and I just put out a plane, and there a lot of these things I've learned through YouTubers out there that are publishing this stuff, and I'm trying to get a whole bunch of them together and trying to build up an inventory as you will, of all these procedural shaders, because when I was messing around with LightWave, some of that stuff, LightWave came with this, nice little packet of stuff that you can, gather, that you can look at, and apply and experiment with and come up with stuff of your own. Blender out of the box doesn't come with any of this stuff. You have to go out and either add it or create it yourself, or do what I did. I went out on the internet. I said, procedural shaders Blender on YouTube, and that's one of the reasons why I ran into this one guy who I've done the majority of this stuff with or from. It was based on his videos, and this guy, his name is Ryan King. This one that you're looking at, the shader that I'm messing around, that was at the introduction here. This one here, this was done by somebody else, but basically, basically, a lot of the process of messing with these shaders, I'm slowly but surely learning. And I've only been messing around with this seriously for the past week, so I'm not necessarily a SME yet, but I'm getting there. Yeah. I'm slowly but surely learning. Like, for instance, for the wand here, for the wand, case in point, for the wand here, and I'll hit the tab key to bring this up. I connected the or I think I did. Oops. I didn't make this local. So it applied, what I applied on there applied to this. Oh, well, I had this in the when I started this wand, which I'll try to bring out here. I had this connected. This mix thing right here. I use it. I'll go enable it for roughness. And got to be very careful about this. Let's see, where can I go over here? Am I doing things locally? I don't know. Maybe I need to rename it. Like I say, there's a lot about this I'm still learning, but I'm getting there. Yeah, I think basically there was some talk about either making it false or renaming this or to something else or whatever that makes, it makes this, since I'm sharing the same material here, or the material, the shader, that I could separate this from this, which is the same material. And maybe I have to copy it and give it another name or do whatever. It's stuff I'm still learning about it. But it's very important with stuff like this that you learn. The only way you got to learn this stuff is by watching how other people do it and going in yourselves and just breaking things.
Which is why we have these broadcasts.
Right. So I could show you, and hopefully you could show me. And like one of the things that one of the problems I'm having with this carry is, like, I have this thing here for high color and low color, and they're supposed to be controlling the overall visual, color on the let's see, on this. Oops, I lost her. And I apologize. I'm running in cycles, in the cycles engine. So, the cycles is one of the two primary engines that you get with Blender. And I'll talk a little bit about that and what you got to be mindful for when you get into this. Like these two colors, I should be able to go in here and they should affect these colors. They don't do that much for some reason. I haven't been able to get it to like, this is supposed to be dark and grungy, and like I said before, they're not just affecting this object, but they're also affecting this object, and I gotta figure that out. And once I do, I'll share. One of those things that are
so you have the same texture on multiple objects you're seeing. Okay.
Yeah. I can't. That's that's kind of unintentional. Not the intention here. I'm trying to go in and make have the same procedural shaders, but have them act independent of each other. And I know there's a way to fix that, but I haven't gotten that far yet. I've only been working this for about a week. So I'm rather a novelist at this. but it's kind of fun, and it's not that hard to learn. And when you learn this stuff, you will add elements of the to your models that really make it pop. Like the general reason why I decided I experimented with this wand, and I came in. I said, I like the way this outline goes. I'm going to add it to this. I'm going to add it to this texture here, because one of the things that I was frustrated about of the character is the fact that that when you, let me go back to the original. Let me go back to shaders to my shading here, and let me put the original back in here. This is the one that came with the model when I brought it over to LightWave. Now, this, you can't really see the texture. It really isn't well defined. And that's because you got to add something to it to give it depth. When I go back here, when I add this into the mix, one of the purposes of the shader is you're supposed to have the edges are supposed to be like, this is supposed to be like shiny metal. And this is supposed to be, and the rest is supposed to be paint, and you're supposed to see the edges of the worn paint on the metal to give you kind of like a flake, a worn effect. It has a tendency to look worn around the edges, just like it does here, even though this is a bit too uniform. I still have to work on that. But you look around, this character, and you can see right off the bat, there are worn edges in this in this character's body, including this very distinct ring that that's put here. And I had to probably add something like a mirror, like some sort of environmental element to this to make this pop out like it's bare metal. I don't have that here, and I should add it. And but as it stands, this pop, you can see that unlike what I had it before, this kind of pops out. You can see the edges of the model very clearly. And yes, there is a way in the camera and doing the settings through the shader that you can add a tune shade to it. Blender does have that. But I like this because it not only adds an outline to the character, but it does it in such a grungy way. It does it in sort of a grungy, dirty way that I think, makes it kind of blend in with the aesthetics of what I'm trying to create for this character. And there's also some very kind of like I call happy accidents or surprises, like you see around the edges of these devices here. You can see some outlines to it, and it's almost like these are almost button bezels that are kind of stuck in here. And I could probably take those out, but I kind of like it. It kind of adds to the aesthetics. There's also supposed to be some chipping and chipping, and occasionally you'll even see a scratch in the cases because it's worn. That isn't so prominent here. It's almost too uniform in her wand. I call that, but by the way, I call that wand, in case I didn't mention it before, I call this wand the nightmare wand. Every character gets one. You lose the wand, you can't charge yourself, and you die. But yeah, that's basically how what I've been doing. And I want to go over, get more in depth about, let me try to bring up, let's see, where is it? Give me a second here. Let me bring up some of my examples. Yeah, go ahead and save it. Now, there's a command command I have yet to learn that I can go up here and bring this up. This is one of the lessons that somebody else had, which is basically galvanized metal, and a lot of what that I have here is basically I'm taking a value and I'm running it through a noise texture and this what they call Vanelli texture. And I probably should be putting that in there. Ooh, didn't think about that. And I'm using this Includian setting, but there's also some, whoops, well, let's see. Let me experiment here. Let's see what happens when I do this. Well, it gets kind of weird. Like I say, it's all this is a matter of experimentation, and like you could change the nature of the object. And much like what I did with the what you usually do when you create stuff that's stuff which is silver, you want to add an element to it that to the background. Yeah, let's go over here. Let's go over here and poke into world. You want to connect something into the background, and like here in this case, let me go into, I know it's here somewhere. Yeah, of course I'm in cycles. And all this works in best on cycles, but a lot of people like to use Eve. And I don't know why, but I got this thing here, and why. I don't know. So you know what? I'll close this. There.
EV is so addictive because it's so fast, but cycles really gives you that mind-boggling realism.
Absolutely. And I love using it. And what I'm looking in here for is background. I know it's one of these things. Right. There's output. Oh, gosh. So much toys. So much toys. So little organization. That's the other thing I'm big on these days is basically organizing things. You know, but these things here are kind of these settings here are generally global settings for the things. Here's what you have when you go into cycles, and I'll go into Eve, and you can see, well, it doesn't change too much, but you know, Eve is a little easier to deal with. But cycles gives you the depth. And I found out with this new system that I have, you know, I'm talking to you on basically new equipment, that the one thing that is really taxed this computer, I also got to go here and switch it over to GPU compute. That helps a little bit in terms of speed, you know, particularly if you set this to, you know, you see I got it set to CPU. You know, that's what it does by default. When you go to what I try to do is set it over to GPU, and like I have an RTX I think it's a 480 and card in this thing, and I want to bet.
So it's a 4080 or a 4080 Ti?
I think it's a well, it says GeForce RTX.
Actually, you should get it. Are you in the PC, right?
Yeah, I'm in a PC.
Actually, you can share. You can go to your. Are you sharing your entire screen or just Blender?
Just Blender.
Yeah, you want to share your entire screen. That way, you can bring it up and show everybody what it is.
Well, I could do. You know, can you see my?
We can see LightWave. No, not LightWave. We can see Blender. But if you wanted to share, go to your Windows properties to show everybody what you've got. We won't be able to see that.
Yeah.
I usually always make it a habit to share the entire screen, just the FYI. That's all.
Well, I got two screens, so it'd be a darn big screen.
Well, no, it'll ask you which screen to share.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
Just FYI.
Okay. I'm not going to dwell on it now. I'm not. I don't want to get that distracted.
48 is pretty good. My new Alienware laptop has a 4080 in it.
Mm-hmm.
Did you hear about the 5080s that they were coming out with?
Yeah, I have.
And for about $600?
Yeah.
Right there tells me it must not be that great of a upgrade.
Well, you know, it depends on what the demand will be for it. If somebody figures out how to mine Bitcoin with it, I almost guarantee you they will be rushing off the shelves because people will try to mine that, you know, try to mine that Bitcoin, you know, the new gold. And to me, it's just a Ponzi scheme.
Right.
But anyway, one thing I guess my point here, though, is one thing that I always try to emphasize, and I can't find for the life of me now I can't find the things I have here for background. So help me. But you want to you want to set your background. What I have the tendency to do, and what reason why I got this, the background on here set to set to transparent is, number one, you want to set the background so you have some sort of mirror graph, what I tend to call a mirror ball or a mirror graphic. And this is like a graphic that I use. See if I can show it to you. No, there is no preview on this, is there? That's my little tiny preview. It's the front of my house. And that's what I'm using for basically for a sort of like, some people call it a mirror ball. Some people call it a mirror graphic. They use it for any time that you bring in a metal or something silver, gold, or metallic into into your character, and you want to have it have true reflectivity exhibit in your drawing. You go into you go into the world and oh well. Oh, that's right. I have to do that. I have to click on this in order to get to that. But I have. Let's see, I have this. I haven't tried this. I'm going to do a little experimentation here. I'm going to grab it, and of course, when you take away the shader, you can always find out if your procedural shader isn't working when you see this. This is because you haven't, somehow you got disconnected. And I'm going to put in bumpy metal. And that is bumpy metal. Ladies and gentlemen, the most grungiest thing that I have. And you may ask, what is making that? What's behind that little green box? And there you go.
Ah, wow.
And one of my chores,
so that was inside that one
is
nodal
to go
box.
through here and figure out.
You can double click on those little boxes.
One of the things that you can do. Yeah, you see, one of the things that you can do, and see if I go over here, is you got it when you go in and you add a node, you got this clever thing called group node. And group node is where all your groups that you've built or bring in reside. And in this case, I got smooth rubber, and I got BB size steel, galvanized steel. And I don't know how. I must have imported it, or maybe I built it here, or maybe I brought this in when I created some of these other stuff. But for some reason, this thing here, lingered, and I got myself my this exists. I'm going to type N. N kind of brings up all the parameters I have in this group. This basically and this kind of when I was talking to you on the email, when I was talking to you on Facebook the other day, I was telling you, I said one of the gripes that I had with a lot of these people who teach these classes is that I don't see them group their stuff in any sort of organized way. When you go in and build one of these things, you can see here, this is a rat's nest to handle. This is literally a rat's nest to deal with. It is far easier to turn this into a group, which I have here as bumpy metal shader, and you go into a group, and like, of the two things that you're staring at, what would you rather deal with when you go in and you build a project and you want to add material to it? Do you want to deal with this, or do you want to deal with that?
All right.
And I don't know about you, but
I think if you double click on it, it opens it up. There we go. Maybe what? Just a delay is what's going on. That's now you didn't share. You didn't share with everybody how you turn something into a group.
That's my next lesson. Okay. So how do you turn this into a group, folks? Well, and I'll try to show it to you. Well, let's see. What can I do here? I can grab this. I'm going to grab all these materials here. Hopefully all of them. Yay. And I'm going to do a copy. Then I'm going to go into here and into there. And I'm going to create another material. And there's your basic material. And I should be able don't know why. Well, anyway, for the sake of argument, I'm not going to worry about that right now. I'm going to go because when I go over here and go to material, that should have changed over. And that's one of the things that I've got to figure out. Anyway, moving right along. I'm going to go over and I'm going to go and do a copy. And now I have a copy of the bumping metal that I created before. And I want to turn this into a group. See what I'm driving on this. Okay, so creating a group. Well, basically, there's two things that I'm going to show you here. Number one is you can create a group inside here. Say I want to select these things here, and I want to put this into a subgroup. I go over here and I think it's either Control J, yes. And now all these here are in its own group internally. And you can also do that for these here, these this, these nodes here, Control J, make them its own group, and so on and so forth. Probably should do it for the bump, for the normal here. But I'm going to go in here and select the group, and then you hit N, and you can give that group a label. For the sake of argument, I'll just call this noise. And it labels it accordingly. And when you get a rat's nest like this, having these little subgroups here, and there's a term for it, which at the moment, the terminology absolutely escapes me, but and I'll call this color controls. And I can even go in to into these individual functions, and I can name these color ramps to things that I want to control. Like let's say this is and now it's you look at it and it's named accordingly. And so you can go in here and name all this stuff, because just keeping the generic names, I'd have to go back and experiment with all this and find out what this node is for, and what this bump node is for, and what this bump node controls, and so on and so forth, so I can control the strength. Fortunately, in this instance, I think the only one that I actually went in there and controlled was this one here, and I set it to 0.15. And these would also be good candidates to go into something. I'm going to go back while I'm here. And of course, I drag this guy far, far away, because what I want to do next is to grab, let me take that away so I can make this a little bigger so you can see. And what I want to do is to grab all of this, except for the end here, which I don't include that. So all this is selected. I can go in here and go Control G for group. And now this is a group. And I can go hit N, and I can call the description, I call the, say the description of this is and when I go over here and you hit the tab key and you go back to your and it should have named it. And I don't know if it did. Nope. call this bumping metal too. Bumpy. There we go. And I could even go back. This is what one guy likes to do. For me, it's kind of nice to know it's a BC, BSDF, but this one guy, he just likes to go in here and relabel this shader for whatever crazy reason. So when you go back and look at this thing, I'll hit the tab key. Now this says shader. But like I say, that's just one guy's preference. Personally, it doesn't matter to me. The way that I like to name them myself is like, if, case in point, if I create some sort of displacement, I want to put it over here, and that way it would appear when you go back into here, you would see this thing below shaders, say displacement, and you could drag that over to here. And for volume and thickness and whatever, it's all goes to the material output. Or you can make this like part of a complete set and just grab them all in and put them together any way you want and control it at this level. But for me, this is ideal. Now, like I say, for the sake of this lecture, I'm going to go now focus on this, because the big question pops up: how do you load things into this thing? And for that, you got the group input. And the group input, you can go into any of these variables here. And I will go in here and say, what is a good candidate? Well, I'm almost tempted to go in and play with these color controls. I haven't done this before, but so let's see if I can do this. I don't think it's going to let me. Darn, I got to figure that out. The color ramps are kind of cool. I know there's a way to go and change these figures, and it is not going to let me do that. Well, let's try to pick something a little simpler. Like, let's go over here to, let's go over here to our noise texture here and say we want to control, this. Nope, it isn't going to let me. I know one of the things that will let me do, and I'm going to just do it just for the sake of it, because, see, roughness. No, it's not going to let me do that. Anyway, like I can go in here and say roughness. For the sake of argument, I'm just going to call it roughness. And maybe go into here. Come on. Ah. And so on and so on and so forth. The end result, when you go over here and do your tab key, is all of a sudden you have these at your control, beck and call right here. And you can make your adjustments to these accordingly and experiment with it at this level. This would probably make a lot better sense on the procedural shader I was messing with before, because it has a lot more of those kind of variables to it. But I probably want to go and say, go and do a tab and say, I'm going to grab this and I'm going to go over to the bumps here, and I'm going to do to control the strength for these bump settings, and and apply it here. And for I'm going to call this bump strength, so on and so on and so forth.
So
and that's basically has to do with it.
Persons just came on board. I just want to ask a question here online. Somebody said the screen was blurry. I think it's the bandwidth. I haven't. Nothing's been. It looks good on my end. I mean, I'm seeing on my end, the screen is clear. Here, let me. I'm going to give you the link to log on live, and jump on. Here's to log on live. I think that's definitely a bandwidth a problem. Just answering a quick question. Sorry about that.
I can make it bigger.
No, I mean,
then again, you see far less.
Yeah, I'm looking at Twitch on my screen, and it looks good. I mean, I'm at the Twitch /Chromalution, and it looks good. So I think that's a bandwidth issue.
Well, yeah, I do videos on Discord with my friend over in Georgia, and I noticed that whenever I'm working in cycles, and particularly if I do, if God forbid, let's experiment here. Now, this is doing a render in cycles, I believe. And I don't know if you could hear me or not, or if I'm choppy or whatever. Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
I guess not.
What was that? Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, you can hear me? I'm coming in normally?
Yeah,
because whenever I do this, and I listen to my friend trying to, he's been playing some audiobooks for me, because I'm also working on some characters for him and for the audiobooks. And as I do all this procedural stuff, I'm also listening to him and taking down notes. And so
I've got several comments. One from Dave Hoffman saying he's in Carlsbad, right next door to me, actually, and he sees us fine. So I think it's just I think that's on Parsons' end. He's got a little bit of a bandwidth problem. Overlay is clear, so it must be David's side or something. Yeah, but I'm seeing everything fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm seeing.
You should be seeing, possibly seeing. You're seeing my render.
Yeah, I can see it fine. Well, when I'm looking, I'm seeing your render to the left, and then your nodes to the right.
Okay. I also have the Blender renderer up.
Yeah, but we can't.
I should have done this.
You need to share your entire screen, as I recommended earlier.
Okay.
You can still do that. You can
hang on a second.
Share again. Share your entire screen. Don't get stingy with the content. Okay,
well, now
so
it's not letting me go.
Yes, it will. Go to your present button down on the bottom. Hit the present button.
Share screen.
Share screen, and pick which screen to share. You've got two screens, so you're going to have two options.
Now I go into window or I do entire screen.
Entire screen.
Okay.
There we go.
There we go.
I'm adding you now back to the broadcast. There we go. There it is.
So let's see. What I was trying to do was this. Yeah. Now I can see it.
Yep. Now we can see it. Because you've done these broadcasts before, you should know better.
Yeah, it's yeah. You're right. I'm not gonna make up excuses. Well, anyway, I want to get one more thing I want to get to before we run too much out of time. And
you got 10 minutes. You have 10 minutes left.
Okay. Because I do want to show this to you if I can find it. There. I'm not going to say that. And this has to do with, I know there's a spider thing that comes up in menu that comes up and allows me to do this without having to go there, but there you go. And there's now that's the one that this is by far the most complicated procedural shader I have built to date. I'm still sitting here going like, what's this? And I'm going to have to go back on this at some point and pluck out, put this into a group and bring up and add some, and try to pick out some of this stuff in here and select it. Yeah, it's quite complicated. Each one of these represents a particular function that goes in here. Like, I'm going to teach you another thing that goes in here. That's and one last thing, very important thing. Setup. When you're setting this up, make sure you have Node Wrangler turned on. It is installed in your Blender, but it is never turned on. Why people won't, why they haven't done this when they actually give it to you? I guess some people don't like Node Wrangler. No, a lot of the functions that I've shown you today are here. I can do because of Node Wrangler. And
I agree with you with that.
That's my best.
I agree with you. It's like, why is Node Wrangler turned on?
I don't know. That's just something we had to talk about. Right now I don't dare ask the Blender group why they haven't done certain things, because they have their own issues right now. And I'll leave it at that. But anyway, this is an instance where the whole thing here is one big procedural graphics. And I'm going to go over some of the parts of this, and I'm going to show you a thing here. The thing in here, you can go control, shift, and I'll hit on mix, and you can see, what I know from about this point to this point. You could also, go for here, and like this shows the bolts that I have, and here the results of all. This is all the patterns that exist, and that come from this. This texture. This texture thing here. And there is, I'll select this, and this goes, this, shows you things that, every step of the way that, kind of gives you a clue of what's going on. And I was like, oh, that isn't too good. But and you can pretty much follow the process for any one of these. It is also good for determining what a particular node does in this thing, and allows you to go in and monkey with this stuff without without worrying about all this other stuff. You can tell what all these things do, kind of follow it down the chain here, down to the root, and see where certain things happen. Like this is a thing for the bump nodes. And normals, play a very important role in all this. The only other thing that I haven't done yet, but I followed a video, and somebody absolutely, said, well, this is what and told me, well, this is what you got to do. Is what do you do with these? These procedural nodes are designed for Blender. They will give you all these wonderful effects. But what if you wanted to take your model with your procedural textures and incorporate it at, say, Unreal Engine or Unity or any other kind of engine? What do? Well, the answer I've heard prominently is what you got to do is to convert this procedural graphics into a UV text array, which you then export over to your graphics, over to whatever graphics engine that it's going to be the end sum. That I have yet to do, so I can't tell you, give you a definitive answer here. I can only tell you what I've done, and that's probably going to be in the future, hopefully a future discussion.
There's another way too. It's called the USD Universal Scene Detection Export, and that
I have heard of that.
Yeah, I've demoed it.
I've heard of that.
I demoed it at the
I've heard of
San Diego Comic-Con.
The problem with that, Stephen, is that USD, like a lot of things, is still in its infant stages right now, and them creating a standard is one thing. People adopting that standard is sometimes something completely completely different. And what whether or not they adapt these things in the end, I will try for this one, for particularly for this particular scene here, because I want to play with it more. I want to experiment with it and eventually bring it into my game. I think it would look great in the game. It'd be great on wall. I could use it on walls or floors or whatever. There's like 1,001 uses that I can have in my game environment for this and other things. I'm not. I've heard issues with USD. And a lot of it has nothing to do with the USD itself. It is people adopting the standard, like getting with the program. A lot of people have said that they're eventually going to get adopt USD, but for instance, I tried to bring some of my stuff with shaders into my Sketchfab framework, which, oh, by the way, is changing. By the way, it got sold. Sketchfab got sold to Epic. That's what Fab is now. Is based on OpenFab. You can still put things into Sketchfab, but you can't sell it there anymore. That paywall has been moved over to Fab, and if you are a Sketchfab user and plan to sell your whatever on Sketchfab, you now have to set up a deal with FAB over through Epic, because Epic now owns it. That's how they were instantly being able to. That's how they instantly were able to bring in all this extra things like Fab that you can go in and put up your models up for sale. Is now you do it through Fab, you don't do it through Sketchfab anymore. And that's another crazy story that is currently going on that I learned about. What are the original thoughts that I had for all these characters? Is that I was going to take a lot of my model inventory and I was going to put it on Fab, or make it available through Unreal for Fortnite as possible elements. And that's how I discovered a lot of that.
Okay, it is that time. Out of there. Right. Okay, cool. Okay, so David, just in case you are not aware, I'm getting an error here on StreamYard telling me that your microphone is not connected. So in order to speak, I mean, not to just speak, but even to show up on here for me to add you, you have to there you go. Now I will add you to stage. Yeah. All right. So I'm gonna stop adding you to stage and put me back on. I think that is me on, isn't it? That's me. Good. Perfect. Okay, here we go. Well, our first broadcast for the new year. Um, Ace Hoffman is giving you a compliment, David. Very fun. Thank you, Ace. And now we're going to go on to something kind of interesting in Blender. All 3D programs have it, but I think Blender is kind of an intuitive way of applying what we call shape keys. I'll show you something. I'll give you a simple explanation of how and why they work, and then we will apply a practical application for shape keys. So let's do this. Let's add a simple object in here. And in order to access shape keys, you have to have an object. Shape keys are based on the geometry of that object. So let's keep that in mind. So let's go hit a Shift A and add something in there. Let's go to our mesh and let's add a cylinder. Let's go into the edit mode. Now, keep in mind that shape keys work off of your edited shapes, okay? So whatever you do in edit mode, that is what the shape keys are going to be attached to. So in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and extend this up like so. And then we're going to go ahead and slice this up. So I will add Control R, our shortcut for slicing, placing my cursor anywhere perpendicular to any of the edges. That's where it's going to add the slice. And I'm going to roll my scroll wheel up to get about that many slices. Okay, this will work. And then I'm going to double click to commit those changes. So I've just added some slices to my geometry. All right, now what we're going to do is we're going to start adding our shape keys. So we have our geometry. We're going to say we like it the way it is. We have to go back out to object mode to make this happen. All right, now once you're in object mode, what we're going to be dealing with here is object data. All right, data, D-A-T-A. And that data is this green triangular symbol with the 3 points on the edges over here to the right-hand side under your properties panel. Okay, the right side properties panel, the colorful icons here. Second from the bottom, there's my data. Inside the data, we have what's called a category called pose shape keys. Yours may be cascaded like this, right? But if you click the little triangle on the left-hand side, it opens up and you have what's called shape keys. All right. So what this is going to do is it's going to record our shapes based on what we do in edit mode, right? And so the first thing we need to do is we need to establish the basis, the base or the basis for the shape. And we're going to do that right over here on the right-hand side of our shape keys box. Hit that little plus symbol and it creates the basis or the base. I think in LightWave, we call it the base. I could be wrong, but here we call it the basis. All right, so that's the basis for the entire shape. Now, what I want to do is I want to add about maybe 4 more possible other shapes that I want to add to this. So immediately, and this is kind of important, immediately you add those shapes first. So add those possibilities first. So it's like creating the placeholders in which you're going to actually create those shapes. So if I come over here to the plus symbol and hit it 1, 2, 3, 4, now I've got 4 possible edits to make to this. So let's go to the key 1 edit here. We're going to select this one here. If I come over to my tab key and go to my edit mode, tab, edit, now I can tell it within that key 1 designation what to do. So what I will do is go to my edge editing mode and grab this edge here on the bottom. And let's go to this edge and let's hit the S key and scale it out like so. Okay, we'll do something like that. That I went too far there. I want to. There we go. We'll go like this. Okay, that's it there. So now it's important that watch what happens. It's important we go back out to object mode right here. So we go back out to object mode, click it, and it has established that shape to key 1, but it reset it back to its basis, which is right here at the top, right? So now, if I want to see the effects of key 1, that's going to happen right down here under the value. So the value is the strength of that effect. So if I click and hold a value and click it to the right or to the left, to the right, to left. So 0, which means basis effect or no effect, and 1, which means the full effect or various stages in between, 0.5, 0.3, whatever you want, okay? All right, so I want to set it back to 0. All right, so we just successfully established a shape key. Let's go to shape key number 2. So I'm going to select shape key number 2. And now we're going to go back into edit mode. And we will grab the next loop. This one, I'm going to make this go way out here just like this. And now to commit this shape key to the key 2 designation, we have to go back out to object mode. Boom. Resets itself back out to basis. And we go, now it's on 2. So now if we go over to the value for 2, we can pull it in or out. So this is what the shape keys is what's often used for facial animation in Blender. You know, making eyebrows, making smiles, grimacing, or anger looking faces. All facial expressions are controlled through these shape key concepts. But that's for another day. All right, let's go to number 3. Now we go to key number 3, tab key, edit mode. And let's go to the one right above, 2 above. Go ahead and grab this one here, S key, bring it right about like so, and done. Tab key, object mode, going to object mode commits to changes to key 3. And to test key 3 out, we're going to go ahead and click and drag it, and there it is, okay? All right, we're going to do something real fun with this when we do the practical application. But I just wanted to kind of go through this so that it becomes clear as to how this works. There's some fundamentals I really want to show everybody so that it becomes super clear how and why this works, so that you guys can kind of take it and use it in any direction you want to go in. Let's go to key number 4 and do one more just for giggles here. So tab key, edit mode. We're going to go to the top one there. And S key, pull that out like so, okay? And commit it back to basis. Okay, now number 4, right? Number 3, number 2, number 1, okay? And all of this can be animated, right? On the right-hand side of the value, you get to see the animation properties. And we're going to animate this, and I'll show you the practical application of it. Okay. All right. Now, let's try this just for fun. What if we add a modifier to it right afterwards? Let's say generate, go to my subdivision surfaces, and we'll go to 3 here. Okay, we got our subdivision surfaces, and we go back to my keys here, and you can see, yep, they still apply, right? Even with that modifier, it's still going to honor it. They're just modifiers. The true shape is still there, but the modifiers in RAM is giving you a preview of what it would look like if this was going to be used with a subdivision surface technique. All right, so if we want to smooth things out, round them out, make them organic looking, we can using subdivision surfaces and utilizing the shape keys technique. Okay, so now let's play with this. Now, let me turn off the subdivision surfaces for now. Okay. And let's take a look at these other designations right in here for the key shape. Now check this out. This is important. Now we got the value, so let's go. That's the top one. We will work with this one. That's the top one. But look at these minimum and maximum ranges, right? If I say I want the minimum range is coming out here. I tell you what, let's start with the maximum range. I think it'll make more sense this way. Say the maximum range is to here. If I want that maximum range to actually go double that strength, I want it to come out double the size as it is now, I can go to the maximum and put a number 2 there, right? I can put a 2 and look at where the slider ends up. It's no longer over to the right. The slider ended up right here midway. So if I go all the way to the right, it goes double. That's all that means. So if I want that to be triple the size, look at the slider. It's all blue all the way to the end here. If I hit the 3 key and did that, now look at the slider. It's no longer all the way to end for the value. It's like 2/3 of a way there. Now if I slide it over, now it's 3 times the size of what we had. Is that making sense? All right, so if I go back to 1, it jumps back down to 1 or to our original setting. So is that making sense? So let's see. David Glenn says, this is like morph maps in LightWave. This is exactly what morph maps are in LightWave. This is morph maps. It's just that Blender calls it shape keys. Same thing. And all 3D, all professional 3D programs have this feature. But this is how it works inside of Blender 3D. It's very intuitive. Okay, now for the minimum, for example, let me take these back to 0. So the minimum, if we go to the minimum range is 0, and we click it and we say -1. Now look at where the slider is here, right? So now I can go the opposite way by 2 times, right? If I go to -1, that's what's happening, right? That's all that means. That minimum means if you want to go past where you are, just give it a -1 or a -0.5 or -0.1. You have those options to do so. So I can go up to 1 for the value or down to -1 for the value, right? If I say, let's say the minimum range, let's bring this all the way down to -1, right? And I go, the minimum range is not going to be -1, but instead -0.5. See, now it's half that. All right, so is that, making sense? So if I go back to the minimum range and set it back to 0, it goes back to my basis. Right? That's it. That's pretty much how shape keys work. So if you had a face and you want to move, you know what? I don't have a head in here. I don't think. I'm thinking, let me see if maybe On this machine, this is a brand new machine. I just so all the stuff I've been working on, most of the stuff I've been working on it may not be here. Let me just take a quick look and see if I have a face somewhere. That will be underneath my 3D projects here, under the LightWave Blender projects and human character. I've got a human character here. I don't know if there's a face on it, but I suppose we can play with that. Let me just take a quick look down real fast, but I think that's the best I'm going to be able to do is what I've got at the top. Human characters here, and let's go to my models, or to the objects, I think it is. All right, let's go to models there, human blend, male. All right, we'll just go to the human blend. This might work. There we go. Okay. All right, I'm going to go to my sculpting tools for this. And in order for this to work, I'm going to plug in my Wacom pad. It's my stylus, because I'm going to use some sculpting tools to assist me with this. And as I'm talking to you now, I'm hooking in my Wacom stylus, which I had disconnected for some other reason. And let's turn it on. Let's see. There we go. There it is. It's working now. Okay, cool. All right. Let me hit the Z key. We're in solid mode now. We seem to be in a wireframe effect, but I think this will be fine. All right, this will be fine. So I'm going to go into edit mode here, and you can see there's a lot of points in here. If we come over, I'll tell you what, let's start inside of object mode. Let's go over to our data properties here. Let's go over to our pose shape keys. Oh, wait a minute, they already have them in here. Damn it. Okay, so this is what's going on. This is a good example. I downloaded this, I believe, from Mixamo. I believe it's been a while since I've worked on this model. It already has shape keys in there. Okay, it already has its own shape keys in there. So as I move these back and forth, here's my values. I'm not quite sure where they are, but let me take a look at this. Pull it back a little bit. This is shoulder, shoulder front, elbow, elbows, elbows. Okay, they're all labeled, right? And this is what's beautiful about blenders. It allows you to label everything. I look down, I look right. It's got a knee bend, a foot bend. Let's get in close to the eyes and see if this works. Okay, so we got an I look left, I look down left. Let me see what happens if I drag that. Yes, there it is. You can see it happening over here. I look down left, I think is what I had. So I look down. Something's happening. I'm not quite sure. Let's see, to the right. That's the right eye, I'm assuming. I look right. I look left. Huh. I'm not physically seeing anything, but all right. I didn't make these shape keys, so let's see if I create one custom. I'm going to go grab this at the bottom, click it to create a custom. We'll leave it at key 24. Okay. We'll go into the edit mode. Actually, I don't need to go into edit mode. We can stay right here. But what I'm going to do instead, hit the tab key and go to scoped mode there. Okay. And let's pull this on up. And I think I'm going to go for the pull effect. I'm going to pull these on down, pull this on up. Come on. There we go. And I'm going to use the pull tools here, or the grab tools. I'll use the elastic grab here. Hitting the F key allows me to resize in Blender. All right, I'm not getting much of an effect here. And this may have something to do with something's going on with the character that I did not create. And I was hoping this was going to work. Let me go hit the strength to 100. Huh. All right, so there is a little bit of a problem. I'll tell you what, let's just go create something from scratch here. I think it'll be easier. We'll get a sphere. We'll do it on our own. So Shift A mesh, go to a cube, go to edit mode, right click, let's go to subdivide that. Let's subdivide that by 10. Okay, that works. Let's go ahead and take this and hit our Shift Option or Alt S, and then move the cursor left to right to spherize that cube so that everything is going to be in quads. Okay. Now, I think what I'll do is I'm going to come over here. I'm going to tell this to use symmetry. And if I should be symmetry on the y-axis here. Okay, let's see if that works. Let's go back to our object mode tab, scoped mode. Yeah, there we go. Symmetry on the Y. That works perfect. All right, now we'll do one last thing. We'll come over here. Let's give this, let's go generate and give this a subdivision surfaces. In fact, let's not use subdivision surfaces. Let's use instead our multi-resolution. And then hit the sub D option 3 times. Scoped and rendered. Sounds good. Level viewport. Scoped and rendered. Okay. So if I do this, there we go. It's nice and smooth. Okay. All right. So I'll do a stupid little face here. I'm not trying to. I'm going to just hold the control key down, push in for the eyes, and then without the control key, kind of make a little brow area. Of course, nose. Okay. All right, that's something simple. All right, there we go. We're done. Now I'm going to rely mostly on my pull tool. Okay, so that's going to be one of these right down here. Thinking that's the grab. We'll go with the grab. So basically what I can do is I can grab things like this. Okay. I can make them a little bigger if I want and kind of push things around. All right, now we go to our data. All right. I'm going to go to object mode. Oh, I have to commit the changes, don't I? Darn it, I forgot about that. All right, so here we go. Go back to scoped mode. And we come right over here to our multi-resolution. And if I apply that, actually, what am I doing? Got multi-resolution here. Oh, is that not? That's kind of odd. Let's see what's going on here. If we go to here, move first. We got to apply. We have to be in object mode. Oh, darn it. Okay, this is not what I was. I didn't keep my option here. What am I doing wrong? It's something I'm forgetting. I am forgetting something. All right. Let's go over here to edit. Let's do it this way. I think my sculpting tools, let's see, let me try this real quick. There we go. All right, sculpting tools, go to I'm looking for my other option. So I want to freeze all of this. And I thought I could do this here from the modifier, but I may be wrong. I'm going to kill myself on this one here. All right, so let's see the shape. Reshape. All right, I'm looking for the option to kind of generate this to keep this here, but I'm not quite. Graphics Studio, welcome. Hello. You just got here a little later, huh? Let's see. Let me check out who's all here real quick. What I'm thinking about. Ace Hoffman, welcome. Buster X66, welcome. David's here. David Glenn, Graphic Studio, Parsons, and welcome. There's a bunch more, but they're not showing up here. But welcome everybody to the Blender 3D and LightWave broadcast. So what I've done, just the mention, what I've done is I've opened up the Twitch channel that you're at now, so that all of the presentations that we've ever done is now free for everybody to watch. I just discovered that how to actually open it up and turn off the subscription aspect of it. I thought the subscription was a Twitch thing, and I discovered that I can turn that off. So now, any of the broadcasts you can on the Twitch channel, you can actually scope mode, edit mode. Let me go to edit vertices, object mode. There we go. That's what I was looking for. All right, and in object mode with multi-resolution, let me see in the view. There we go. That's what I was looking for. Okay, so once I have this, apply all. Now I've got real geometry. All right, so you have to come up here to object mode inside of the scoped mode features. Okay, and then apply once you're in object mode, you apply your modifier. Okay, there she is. All right, so now we come over here to the data properties. We come over to the pose shape keys. All right, and we add our shape key, add our base space. Then I'm going to go ahead and add two more, right? 1, 2. And then we're going to go to our sculpting modes again. If I go back here, go back to our scoped mode. And I think that should be my... and before I do this, what I like to do, go back to object mode again, go to the shape key 1. Let's start there. Let's see if this works. Now we'll come back over to our scoped mode. And we'll, oh, this is interesting. I'm not getting an effect. Huh. Why is that? Okay. Tab, scope mode. Oh, that's kind of really, 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 really bizarre. I'm not able to move anything. Maybe I need to go into edit mode. Yeah, that's probably what's going to have to happen. And let me show you what I'll do here. I'll just grab one point And then I suppose what I can do is go into my proportional editing right up here, or hit the O key in your keyboard, hit the G key, and I can use my button, see, to kind of move things, my middle button to kind of affect. We'll stop there, go back to object mode, and there, okay? So that if I do my value, there it is, okay? This is not the practical example I wanted to show you. I've got another one. But this is just making a point here. This is what's going to be used to the reason you have both eyebrows coming up is because I had the symmetry turned on. So if I go down to number 2, and we will go back to edit mode. That's where we're going to get our symmetry option. And I will turn it off, unclick it. And I'll go to the other eyebrow this time. Click a point, hit the G key for the move tool. There's my scroll wheel for the size, and push it down like this. All right. And left click it to commit my changes. Go back to my object mode, which resets it back to basis. And if we go to our value, we see we've got that, right? So we got this here. We can go back to the 1 key, and we've got those up there, okay? Oops, I'm hitting the wrong thing. 1 key, 2 key. Yeah, that one there. Okay, so, all right, that was just stupid little example of if you're going to do faces, you can do shape keys that way. That's how it's normally done. If not using bones in the face, it's usually a combination of both shape keys and bones used for our facial expressions. But let's go do the other practical example that I wanted to show you. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this, and let's go ahead and grab a cylinder mesh. We'll go get a nice little cylinder right there. All right, and let's extend this out a little bit. Get the top, grab it, pull it on up. I'm just going to make a quick little, there we go. I didn't mean to do that. I wanted to do Control R here, roll it once, S key for scale. Oh, my system's acting kind of funny. I think I know why. Undo it, Control S, there we go. Make a little rocket end here. 3 key for face editing mode, I key for inset. Okay. Let's do a E key to bring it in. I'm gonna hit my Alt Z so I can see on the inside. My proportional editing is on. That's why I'm getting all this moving. So what I'll do is I'm going to undo that, and then I'm going to hit the O key on the keyboard. That's the shortcut for turning on proportional editing. E key going down. Now only that's being affected. And hit the S key to pull it in like so. Okay, I think we'll just hold it there. We'll just leave it there for now. Okay, let's get back out. Let's get back out of X-ray mode, and let's create a flap that's going to represent where the fire is going to be coming out of. The flap's going to be circling all the way around the piece, and then it's also going to have a movement. We're going to animate the movement in and out as the fire is kind of coming out of the engine here. Of course, if I want to make this, well, we'll just leave it that the way it is now. Let's get out of here. Go to object mode, and for giggles, I'm gonna hit Control A. Make sure rotation and scale is all set, and let's grab a flat plane. So Shift A, mesh in a plane. I'm going to bring this on up. And this reminds me, I've got a 3D object that I designed this way and printed. I want to share that with you. In fact, it's over in the other room. Let me go grab that over in the other room. I'll be right back. I want to share that with you. Give me a second. Well, I can't believe this, but after my Christmas party and moving stuff around, I seem to have misplaced it. All right, I'll find it later. Okay, we're going to make this the flat. I think I want to make this a little bit larger, the base actually. Let's go ahead and hit the S key, pull it up a little bit larger. Let me go to my X-ray mode. Yeah, that'll work. I'm going to go pull this on up to right about there. And go get the plane, pull that back on up. Apply my rotation and scale here. I'm going to flip this on the x-axis, so rotate x 90 degrees. Okay, that works. Let's pull this on over here. That's going to be our flat, the basis of it anyway. And I think I'm going to go over here in the edit mode. Let's go grab this top one. Pull it on up, kind of give it more of a rectangular shape. And I think what I'm also going to do is go ahead and give it a much thinner, maybe not as long as I have here. Okay. I'll pull that up to here. All right. I might want to make this just a little thinner because I want to make, I might want to make a whole bunch of these. Oops, I don't want that. So I just want the sides. There we go. All right, let's go ahead and start subdividing this just a little bit. Command R or Control R, and I'm going to just subdivide this. Let's see if I can do, that's good enough. And we're going to give this just a slight little bend. So I'm going to go grab that middle piece, hit the O key for my proportional editing. Okay. So that if I hit G and then Y to restrict the access, I can control just a slight bend. See, I'm making I just want a very, 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 very slight bend. Very slight, like that. See? G key, Y key again. I'm going to kind of control it like that. I don't want a whole lot of bend there. Just very, very slight. There we go. All right, so we're going to go to our object mode. And then what I'm going to do is let's set our rotational or orientation down at the very edge here. So if I go back in here in the object mode and grab these edges right about there, Shift S, set the 3D cursor there, get back out to object mode, right click, set origin to 3D cursor. All right, and the reason being, I'm going to turn off the X-ray mode here, is that if I rotate this, it's going to do this. Okay, I'm going to undo it. Okay. Now let's give it some thickness, give it a modifier, and generate, go to our solidify, and let's give it, we will go on the inside for this one. There we go. So we got a nice little, thruster control panel. All right, now Command or Control A, rotation and scale is set. I want to make sure that's correct. Now, what I want to do is I want to add an array. I want to array this all around this rocket. So we're going to use our modifiers to do the work for us. And we're going to array it around the center of this object. So if I select this object, and just to be safe, I'm going to make sure everything is correct. I'm going to set the Shift S, set the 3D cursor here. Shift A, we're going to go and get our empty and give it the arrows key. All right. So go to X-ray mode with the empty. I'm going to rename the empty dot array. And then I'm going to take that empty and I'm going to just bring it right up here next to my, just to make it convenient for me to see them both together. So we're going to array this panel around this empty. All right, turn off X-ray view, select the panel. Now we're going to apply the array to it. So to do so, let's go and get our modifier, generate. Let's get our array. By default, you're getting a relative offset, as you can see here. And I'm going to start with, let's say, 25 panels. I'm just guessing, right? So we've got 25 panels going across here. Now, we'll do 20. We'll do 20. Maybe 25 is a little bit much. So we'll do 20 panels. Okay. And then what we want is not to be a fixed count, right? we want this to be, or relative offset is what I should say. Fixed count's what we want, but we don't want a relative offset, which means it's offsetting in any one of these directions that we put a 1 next to. So turn that off, so relative offset, and get an object offset. And the object we want this to be based on is going to be that empty dot array, right? So click this here. There's the empty dot array, and there it is. Okay. All right, so let's see what's going on here. The empty dot array should not be doing that. And this is what's disturbing me. It's starting to annoy me, actually. And if I hit Control A and apply scale, this empty dot array object offset. Yeah, interesting. So if I come over here, oh, I'm sorry, I forgot a step. Let's turn off the array. I know exactly what I did. All right, so the orientation of our panel has to match the orientation of this empty. No excuses. I know better. So Shift S, cursor to selected, there. So now we have the orientation of the empty. Now we simply select on the panel and say match the same orientation by set origin to what? 3D cursor. There. Why are we doing this? Because now if I go the rotation option, it will stay along that path. Okay. Now we can do this. So now we can go over and we got the object offset, the empty array is selected, and you see that you don't have multiple objects poking out anywhere. They're there. They're just perfectly overlapping one another in that one position, right? So if we go to our empty itself and rotate it, let's see, that's interesting. That's very interesting. If we select this here, object, empty array, you got to turn it on. Got it. All right. So by rotating the empty, we're doing an array here. So we have what, 20 empties here. So I want them all to be perfectly aligned. So we're going to come right up here, our vertical left side menu, go to the item option, and we have to have the empty array selected. Go to my rotation, which is right here for the Z-axis, and 360 degrees divided by 20. Just do your math. Calculator. Isn't that 20 is what we put on here? And I may have done something a little different. So here, let me kind of back up a little bit. Let me undo some things. Okay, there's my panel. Empty array, object empty, everything's set. Okay, now if we go to the actual empty, if I rotate it, oops, gotta turn it on, don't I? Let me go to here, turn on the array. Okay, there we go. So we got 20 here. What I might have to do is something's kind of screwed up, so I'm going to just delete it. Okay, so I'm going to just delete it. I'm going to select the empty. I want to check something out. There we go. I have to apply rotation and scale to the empty. Now that should be helpful. Now grab this piece here, give it array again. I don't want relative offset. And I do want 20. I want 20 objects. We go to our object. We select our empty array there. Okay. So technically, with the empty array selected, if I rotate it, there it is. Now it's working. All right, I'm going to undo. Go to my item tab for the empty array. Rotation around the z-axis, 360 divided by 20. There we go. That's it. All right, and let's see if I may want more. So that I got a little bit of an overlapping around the edge. I want to give it a little bit more of an overlapping. So maybe we'll go 25. So let's go back to the array. Let's give it 25. And I'm just goofing around here. I'm just experimenting here. So now we got 25. Now I will go back to the empty itself. Go back to the z-axis and 360 divided by 25. There. Okay. You'll see what I'm doing in just a minute. So this next step, you understand what's going on. So I'm going to select the actual piece. Let me turn off the array there. Okay. So there's the actual piece. And if I'm staying in global option, there's the actual piece. Now I'm going to turn it back on. So I'm going to move it just slightly. Like that. That's what I want. Just like that. So they're kind of overlapping each other a little bit. Okay. Maybe a little bit more. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. So what I want to do is I want to parent this to the empty now. So that's selected. Shift select the empty. Control P. Keep offset. So that if we select the empty and we move the empty, we can move everything back into place. Kind of close to what we want. All right, this is where it gets fun. So let me select this piece here. And let's go into edit mode. Let's go to tab key and go into edit mode. Hit the X-ray view. We can see all of this is all, just a single panel. Let's go grab the edge. And if we move this, see what we're doing? So if I get it out of X-ray mode now, all right, so now keep in mind, we're in edit mode, right? We're not in object mode. So if I'm going to undo it so we go back to our base. I want this to be the base position. So tab key, object mode. And we're going to, now this is where we're going to start creating and animating this particular little technique. Let's go over here to the data. All right. So at this point, it's pretty clear what we need to do. We need to create the basis. And the basis is we're going to keep the object naturally as is for a basis. So let's go ahead and do that right now. And we're just going to hit the little plus symbol and there is our basis. So all these, it's going to basically be our pose shape keys. So instead of animating the object itself, all we're doing is we're animating the shape of the object. And the shape of the object can only happen in edit mode. So it's a way of being able to animate things as you create them in edit mode. Because so far, most of the animation you're ever going to do in Blender is going to be in object mode, right? And again, the most common use of this is going to be, there's a lot of common uses, but the most common is going to be like facial animation, organic animation, if we're using shape keys. All right, so here we go. So we got the little panels here. We got our basis. Now let's animate some of the other shapes here. So I'm going to go create one more. We're going to call this keyframe. What are we going to call this keyframe? I'm going to call it, we'll call it Rocket. Rocket Blast. Okay, and we're going to stay there, and then we're going to go into edit mode and just animate this down to here. Okay. Now we got to go back out to object mode as we did before, so that over here under our shape keys, go to our value. See? So what I want to do is I want to animate this technique where as it's blasting, we're getting this type of effect. All right, I'm just manually doing it, but we're going to animate that. All right, so let's, you know what I want to do? I want to actually take this, right click and auto shade, we'll say shade smooth, auto shade smooth, yeah, like this. Let's do the same thing for these up here. Right click, auto shade smooth. So we kind of give them a little smoother effect. Control Shift S. I'm going to save this to, let's go back up here to my presentations folder. I believe that's the Blender projects. I'm going to go put that back into the lessons folder, and that will be under my presentations. And this should be under the Rocket Blast, I think I called it. Yeah, we'll go take a look. Yeah, Rocket Engine Shape Keys. I'm going to call this one Shape Keys number 3. Okay, so now just to show you, we can kind of give this a little more detail. Let's go into edit mode. And I think I want to just edit this outside area here. So I'm going to hit Command R. Okay. And now we're going to go to our face editing mode. And I'm going to grab that face, this face. I'm going to go every other one, just to add a little visual interest here. We hit the I key to pull it in. E key, extrude it out like so. And then we're going to come up here and tell to use the individual origins. So that I hit the S key, I can pull them. Oops. You know what's happening there? You know what's happening here. It's these proportional editing on, turn it off, or hit the O key to turn it off. Now, E key, pull it on up. Make sure the individual origins is on. S key. There we go. Do them individually like that. Kind of make a little bevel. So we got a little bit of visual interest there. So it's not so boring. And if we want to, go grab these two, those two, and those two, and we'll do some negative space for it. So I key, pull it in, but I want this to be different. Hit the I key again, it gives me the individuals there. Let's see if we go inwards. E key and go in. Let's see what that looks like. That looks good. There we go. We add nice little visual interest to it. It's kind of fun. Tab key, object mode. There we go. So if we come down here to the rocket blast just to do a visual test. All right. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. There we go. I want to go to the value. Now you can see what's happening here and why we need to do all this details ahead of time. Is because my base key is based on none of the effects, everything flattening out. So it goes back to basis and we're getting this effect. If we go back down, now it's adding all the effects. All the effects are the details are being edited back in there. So just to show you that if you're going to do any of this, do all your details first, right? Yes, I did that intentionally. Do all your details first so that when you decide to play around with this value-wise, see, they're kind of disappearing because it goes back to basis again. May not affect this so much because we're going to be starting our animation. It's going to be, pulsating within this range area anyway. So this may be a little more forgiving. All right, let's see. We got the basis. All right, there we go. So let's go and animate this little guy. All right, let's bring in the timeline. In fact, yeah, let's bring it. Bring in the timeline. I'm going to go down here and add an extra one. Oops, what did that do that for? I didn't mean to do that. Oh gosh, let's save this real quick. I don't want to save that real quick. Let's do maximize that there. And let's see if I can actually drag this stuff back. So I lost my little side panels here. Let's see if I can actually just attach it. Is it going to allow me to attach it? All right, that is not working the way I thought it was going to work. Okay, it's my properties panels I'm missing and these little outliners. So property panels and outliners, I'm going to close those out. I'm going to save it. Let's just go back to Blender. Open it. It's giving me problems, so I'm just going to close it out. Open it up again. And let's go back and get our last project. Okay, there it is. Thank you. Go back to open recent. There we go. Cape sheets number 3. All right, so it's giving me this stupid little thing again. That's no big deal. What we'll do is we will add another window over here. That window is going to be our scene. Is that scene? Not scene. Our 3D. Where's my display option here? There it is. Got it. All right. This needs to be over to the right. Actually, yeah. So if I take this and bring it down like that, there we go. We got it back again. There we go. Hate that when that happens. All right, cool. There's my object. Just bring this back on up and play with shape keys. There we go. Let's go animate this. Bring up here. What I started to do was just bring up another window to there. That's going to be my timeline. Okay. There's a couple of ways to do this, but what we're going to do is I'm going to do a clever little way. I'm going to select our 3D cursors right in the middle. Let's go ahead and grab a sphere, mesh, UV sphere right in the middle there. Okay. I'm going to make it down a little bit smaller. And I'm going to pull this up so we can kind of see it right about there. So we're going to animate these shapes based on the location of this sphere. Command A, rotation of scale has been applied to the sphere. And we're going to use a driver. This is kind of cool. This is going to be kind of cool. We are going now. Remember, we did everything in edit mode. We could edit the actual shape keys themselves, but why not just edit one object? And where the placement of this object is placed in the scene actually affects the movement of these panels in and out. Okay. So if I select the panels themselves, I'm going to go right up here. Let me go back to Rocket Blast and take it back to 0. So it goes back to bases. Okay. So this is going to get really interesting. With the panel selected, we're going to come right up here. Let's see, I'm going from memory here. So we're going to our item. Let's see here. We're going to go to the objects, go to the panels. And I think what we're doing, oh my gosh, I'm forgetting something here. Now this is the part I hate, so my brain goes blank here. I want to use this is what I want to do. I want to use basically a driver to edit this here. So with the panel or edit the position, I remember. I got it. I remember now. All right. The reason why I forgot, I understand. I understand exactly why I forgot. Because normally when I'm editing drivers, I'm up here in the items tab, editing the locations, rotation, and scale, right? Here, to affect the position, I need to affect the shape key. So now I have to go to another place, which is the value here, right? I'm so used to doing it here, my brain forgot, oh, we got to go do the values. This is going to be the driver. So right click, add a driver. Now this is where it gets a little tricky. So here we have the driver selected. Well, what type of a driver do I want? Well, if we drop this down where it says scripted expressions, We have one called averaged value. That's the one we want. Why? Because we're animating the value of what? That shape key. Once that's selected, now we need to come down here to add the object. What object is going to affect the position of that shape, the value of that shape key? And if I grab this object here, we want the sphere. Well, the sphere based on what? We want it based on a location. Well, what location? Based on the z-axis location. So sphere based on not x location, but z location. See? And in what space? World space or local space is what we want. Based on its local space. Okay, let's pray that this works. So if I pull this back, go to my sphere and move it, it's not working. Now I got to figure out why it's not working. I'm going to select this again. The blast. This is interesting. Let's see. If I grab this here, all the way up and all the way back. There it is. It is working. It was working. All right. It's the position of the sphere. Back in here. Okay. It was working. It was too far up. Okay. So here, beginning, which is going to be our world location. And we're affecting this based on the position of the ball, of the sphere. So I want to get this type of movement like this, right? That type of vibrating movement with this shape. So if I go to the bottom here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to animate this. So here, with my cursor over the sphere, hit the I key, and that's one position. Let's go over to 10. Let's bring it in like so, all the way down, which is what I've got. And now hit the I key again. So if I go back and forth between these, I've got that type of movement. All right, now I want that to vibrate, right? Because I want that to really vibrate. So what I need to do is I need the help of my, what is it called? I know what it is. My graph editor, right below the timeline. So I can right up here to the top left-hand corner, get the timeline symbol, click it, and go to the one right below it for the graph editor. So with all that selected, let's see, I need to select the object itself there. And let's see. Let's see what's going on here. My shape keys looking for. Now this is the part I hate, so I'm going to go. Not that. I'm looking for the sphere. I got to go to X-ray mode. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. That's it. Okay. All right. So I'm interested in animating the Z location of that sphere. I should be able to click it right there. That brings up these little extra tabs over here to the right-hand side. The only way these tabs show up on the right-hand side, and this is gonna stump you every single time because they're gonna not be there. The only way they're gonna be there if you come over here to the particular location you want to animate and highlight it. Once that's highlighted, these F-curve modifiers in view comes up. The first modifier that I want is, you click on it, there's no modifier there because we haven't added one. We want one called cycles because I want this to cycle forever. So now, hit the space bar. All right, so that's obviously too consistent, all right, and too predictable. Well, we need to add another modifier to it to make it a lot more unpredictable. So I'm going to stop it, and we're going to come over here to modifiers to get drop list again. I'm going to just take this cycles up a little bit, just cascade it up, and we're going to add another modifier. We're going to call it noise. And when we click noise, now it starts to break up. All right, based on your commands here. All right, so now if I play it, and we can play with this, we can play with the scale of it. We can go back, and you just kind of play with it until you get something you want. The strength, bring down the strength a little bit. Offset, see what it does, see what it's doing here. There we go, that's a little better. How about phase? What does that do? Yeah. Maybe a little more phase. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, I'm liking that. I need to save this. I've just saved it. Okay, that's good. And then we've got depth. Let's see what depth does. Yeah, I'm liking that. Okay. All right. And that's now all we need to do now is put in the fire in here to pulsate, with the vibration of these pieces here. So let's see. Buster66 says, "Nice. Yeah, thank you. You're welcome." That was kind of a fun little one there. So, and this is all based on the position. Let me go to my X-ray mode of that of that sphere. It's all based on the position of that sphere. Now, some people would use bones to do this. I have not really seen a real, so far a real reason to use bones compared to just another object, because even in render, you can tell Blender not to render that object. And of course, you can come in here and do your texturing as usual. So we got about 5 minutes left. We'll go ahead and add a little bit of texturing. Go to New material. We'll go to metallic and bring it up. In fact, let's go and turn on. If we go to material mode, let's go to, there we go. Let's go to render mode. Let's turn on our lights. You know what? Probably be better is put an HDRI image in the background. So let me save this real quick and let's go get an HDR. If I come here, go to my shader tab real quick, and let's go to my world background here. Select my shader for the background. Control T is a node wrangler, and David talked about that earlier. The node wrangler. Go get an image, and let's see. I know where all my HDRIs are, so they're basically under my. I think I did also put it under my lessons folder too. Lessons, Blender projects. I think it's under here. I'm going to go 0 PBR. I think it's called. It may be under PBR. It is not, but I do know where it is. That's going to be right over here under our 3D projects, Blender projects. And it's going to be either 0 PBR. There they are. Just saw it. That's PBR. You know what? It's not PBR, it's HDR. That's for regular textures. Let's go to HDR textures. Should be there. They are HDRIs, and let's go and just pick one of them. There they are. It's just thinking right now. It's freezing up on me because it's thinking. Here are my different backgrounds here. So maybe we'll use something like something subtler. We'll go with that one. And then we're going to turn off the lights. There. Okay, and with that on, let me go select that surface there. We didn't give that a proper surface, so let's go click on the new. There we go. Make that more metallic, bring down the roughness so we can kind of see the environment reflecting a little bit. Maybe not so reflective, so we'll bring up the roughness just slightly. Let's take it out of a white and go to more of a gray. Give it more of that metallic feel. And then let's select the panels and we'll just give it the same. I suppose I can just give it the same material. There we go. And I'll do a better one of this tutorial, in the upcoming broadcast, where I'll actually create a whole ship or something. But this is just a simple little, a fun little exercise on utilizing shape keys to create nice little animated effects. So I hope everybody enjoyed that. I forgot to turn that off down there. Let's see, David Glenn. I'm going to add him back to stage. He got knocked off there for a second.
Can you hear me now?
Everybody enjoyed that. So we'll be back next week.
Can you hear me now?
keep your eye on your emails. I'll send out, I'll send out the little reminders of our upcoming workshops, and we're gonna start doing like giveaways again. So I'll probably be doing some giveaways of some of the upcoming workshops I'll be doing. And if you are interested, I'm gonna go back and I posted earlier on.
Yeah,
The
that was great, by the way.
Blender Brilliance workshop is a 5-week workshop. It's a workshop. Anybody's interested in kind of getting up to speed fairly quickly. I'm going to go ahead and post it in here once again. There we go. So you can join there. 5-week class, Sundays, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. So it's first thing in the morning on Sundays, ends before your day begins in the afternoon. And a really good class. So it's something you're most definitely going to want to get involved in. So if you already have a basics understanding of Blender, the Blender Brilliance class is going to be what you want. Kind of take it to the next level. So we'll be getting into some of the rigging, some of the geometry nodes also. Geometry nodes with characters, with creating crowds of characters, stuff like that. Clothing effects on characters. We'll be covering all of that there as well. Okay. So yeah. David, thank you so very much if you're still there.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you perfectly.
Yeah, I tried to get the camera to work, and for some reason, StreamYard kept kicking me out, saying, "Oh, well, I wasn't hooked up to the."
Yeah, it's got to be hooked. It's got to be hooked in before you start your broadcast.
Yeah, that's probably why. Oh well.
So we'll come back with more exciting stuff. Thanks, and we'd love to see more tutorials next week, David. If you want to plan on coming on.
Well, the more I learn, the more I'll teach. And I always keep at least you in the loop on that. So you can warn me ahead of time if you want to include me in the lesson plan.
All right, that'll be kind of fun. I will definitely do that. And thank you everybody for being here. First broadcast of the year. As the word starts
very interesting. That's very interesting. I didn't know how to do morphing in Blender. Now I know.
Yeah.
I'm going to experiment with that a little bit, I'm sure.
I think you'll find it probably easier than LightWave.
Uh-huh. Well, I used to be literally a subject matter expert on morphing in LightWave. So if that's the case, then there's going to be some exciting stuff I'm probably going to be able to do, because I want to be able to animate the facial expressions and stuff on that character. And right now, I'm just doing it through a UV text, but out of just out of ease of use. But
right.
I'm going to probably experiment with some of the facial expressions, take some of that stuff, maybe work through Dog Waffle, and add some stuff. Dog Waffle. Well, Dog Waffle has a great thing as far as extracting patterns, and the only thing I've had that I know that's came close to that is using Illustrator, Adobe Illustrator. But Dog Waffle is a lot cheaper.
Yeah, and Phil, who's normally the demo rep for Dog Waffle, he'll probably be back again next week too. So he was working today, so he said probably next week will be a little bit better. So it's I want to up to and also with these broadcasts, I've also turned off the feature on Twitch that you have to be a subscriber in order to see all the videos. So now everybody can see all the videos. If you don't, let me know. I'm going to put my email address in here in case you guys have any problems. You can reach out to me and let me know. Um,
I'll
let
definitely
me,
try that.
yeah, let me get out of things. Steve, I'm going to put my email address in here.
Of course, you could potentially use that as a revenue source. If you don't
Well,
mind
if
me.
anybody wants to donate, they can subscribe and donate money too. If they want to donate
Yeah,
to help the channel out, they can.
that's
But
something I'm thinking about a lot these days.
yeah, I mean, it's just the amount of money I earned from Twitch has been so inconsequential that it's kind of like, just open it up and let it, I figured out how to open it up, just make it free for everybody to watch.
Well,
So,
I'm at an
so
age right now. I got my nest egg. I got my SSI in about 10 months. My
yeah,
Social Security in 10 months because I'll be on full Social Security. Plus, I'll have a job.
yeah.
So maybe I could take some time off and actually travel and enjoy retirement for a change, or enjoy my elderly years.
Art, in general, artists never retire anyway.
No, we're too hooked up with our art,
Yeah, we love what we do, so there's no reason to be retiring. We
Well,
make money with things that's dear to our heart.
well, why do you think I'm still working all these years?
Yeah,
I've been in this business almost 30 years, and I started relatively late in life. So anyway, it's been a lot of fun.
it's been a lot. It's been a heck of a lot of fun. All right, great. So thank you again. So I'll definitely reach out to you, David, for next week to remind you.
Okay.
And so figure out something you might like to share. I mean, there's a lot of projects I'm working on right now. Would love to share. Maybe we'll do that next week.
Well, it's
Um,
well, it's only been in like the past few months that I've been able to really deep dive into Blender, because I had to give up my Maya license. It just got too expensive.
Yeah, well, the way that I really learned Blender was that I put down all the other 3D packages that I've been playing with and just focused on Blender. And to
Yeah.
this day, I just focus on Blender. I want to. My intention is to master it,
Yeah.
and it requires time. But what's fascinating about my journey is that the program is designed and written and functions in such a way that it's really, really fun to be playing in the program and
Well, that's the
exciting.
way to go.
Yeah.
Well, anyway,
But in the meantime, I still keep my nose, keep my eyes open with LightWave and where it's going, which is why I like the LightWave Blender broadcast type of concept.
well, they had their Black Friday event, and the price went down to like $250,
Right.
and so I went and I got it at that.
Okay.
And so I'm still playing with it, and everything, all my creative software, it all ported easily into my new system, including, much to my surprise, ZBrush.
Okay.
But I tell you, I saw you doing sculpting today, and that's almost renewed my faith in possibly using Blender for a sculpting tool.
Yeah, Blender's gotten better. I mean, it's you probably saw the change in interface here. I'll save this one and just do a quick little new and general, and I gotta have an object in here, obviously. So let's go to a sphere. All right. You can see they got a nice little visual interface going on here now.
Yeah.
It's starting to add other brushes and visuals. The brushes.
What's the color one over there? The one kind of that one.
So this is I think this is your oh gosh darn it, you know what it is. It's this. Hold on a second. It's weight painting, I think. So weight
Oh.
weight painting.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe
So,
they added paint to sculpting mode.
they've always had a paint mode.
Uh-huh. They
They've
have a
always
paint.
had a paint. They have a paint mode. You can just paint right on here if you tab key, right there, texture paint, right there. And here,
And maybe I'll have some. But anyway, maybe next time I'll probably have something. See if I can get USD to work. To work in Blender into
Unreal Engine.
Yeah, into Unreal.
Yeah, it works. I've done it 100 times. Okay. It's pretty good.
I also need to get involved in that more.
You got. I mean, if you can export this out to USD format, file menu, export. Let's see, where is she? Do I have to activate it first?
Maybe.
I may have to activate. There it is, right there. USD.
There.
Universal Scene Detection.
Okay.
Right? It was right there the entire time.
Right in your face the entire time. Well, they populate this thing with so much stuff.
It's a lot.
Maya is very, very much like it. There's just so much stuff in there that they put in one big package that particularly when you're particularly if you have attention deficit syndrome like I do.
Yeah.
It's just absolutely impossible to me to keep track of that stuff. I think that's one of the reasons why AI is, helped a lot in Unreal. With Microsoft brought Copilot into the Unreal environment, and now you can keep track of all the functionalities that are available to you in Unreal by just going up to Copilot and say, "Hey, Copilot, show me this. I'm trying to do this. Can you show me an example?" And it will come up with the code for it, some example code for it, and you can work off of that. It kind of as you like to phrase it, it inspires you.
Yeah, yeah, it really does.
But because no person on Earth can possibly learn all the classes and functions in Unreal. You have to be a super genius to be able to go through that. And a majority of the people, they don't. They just don't think that way. They think with their creative brain, not with their logical brain.
Unreal Engine is a whole nother animal. It really is. It's a whole other animal. Okay, so I have another appointment I have to go to.
Yeah. Me too.
Thank you so much, David. Thank you all for being here. Looking forward to keeping these broadcasts going regularly, weekly. And from time to time, I'll do some broadcasts in the middle of the week. But there'll be more like stuff where I'm working on something and I just open it up for people to come and watch me work.
Yeah.
Cool. And then on the Saturdays, and we could switch from Friday to Saturday depending on my work schedule. So just be aware of that. We can do our more educational things like we're doing now.
Yeah.
And then I'm also, just to keep the word out there, I'm also creating a site that's going to be, it'll be a paid site that's all going to be about Blender education. It's something where if you want to learn Blender from beginning to end or advancing your skills, I'm planning on creating a site where you can go there and just for a small fee, just enhance your skill levels.
Yeah. It sounds like an idea.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, I got to take off.
All right.
You have a wonderful day.
All right, everybody. Thank you for coming again. All those on Twitch, thank you for being here, and we'll see you guys next week.
Take care.
See ya.